Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gotti.
I'm Zach Munson.
I'm Michael Bailey.
And we are here today to talk about the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. So, the Lakers last year and some rumors from this offseason. Jason has those. As a fan of the Los Angeles Lakers, he has a lot on this. What do you have, Jason?
All right, so last year we started off 10-10. We had a win. We had wins over the Rockets and the Warriors. I know a lot of us were very optimistic as Laker fans, but then injuries started kicking in, as well as our youth started to show a little bit, and Larry Nance, James also went down for extended periods of time. Ingram started to struggle going early, and it really just seemed like what we all expected to happen was going to happen again. But the All-Star break came, and Russell and Ingram had phenomenal second halves. Ingram had career highs like almost every night. He'd make it higher and higher at that last week or two of the season. Russell had a 40-point game against Cleveland. And then we ended the season on a high note at 5-1. All the young guys gave us reason to hope for next year, including Russell, Ingram, Nance, Randall, Clarkson, and my favorite, Zubats. So really, all of them gave us reason to hope. And so now the lottery comes, and the basketball gods rewarded the Los Angeles Lakers for playing well at the end. Jordan Clarkson even said, he's like, hopefully they reward us for playing well, and they did. So we have our second pick, and going into the draft, what we know as of right now is Josh Jackson and De'Aaron Fox have worked out twice for the Lakers. Lonzo has once and is working on finding a second workout time, and Markelle Fultz was on Thursday. He was working out, and so we've had those four guys. That's kind of the target of what the Lakers are looking at. So, Zach, what do you have on the number 2 pick?
So number 2, I think Lakers should go with Lonzo Ball. Listen, he was a star at UCLA. I think he'll be a star in the NBA, especially if his outside shooting continues to be great as it was at UCLA. I'm not too worried about his goofy shooting form. I think he'll translate to the NBA. At 6'6", he's a tough guard for any guard, so he can. Although it may be tough to drive to the right with his goofy left-sided shot, I think he'll be fine. He's got in comparisons to Jason Kidd, and I think he's a player that his teammates like to play around him. He has his quiet confidence, and I think he can be the leader for the Lakers moving forward. And he had an effective jump shot with a 41.2 percentage from the three-point line. So. Yep.
Yeah, the only knock that I've heard around Ball is just his defense, and that's what concerns Laker fans. But I'll get to that in a second. Michael?
I think with the second pick, they should go Josh Jackson. 6'8", 207, averaged 16.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 3 assists. I think, I read some things that the Lakers were looking at him. They had 2 workouts with him, and they seemed to like him. So I think they should go with him.
I'm going to agree with Zach. I think the Lakers go with Lonzo. They need some star power, and it would also help out their marketing, the kind of the business side of basketball. Obviously, we don't think about that a lot and what the best fit for their team, but the Lakers management is definitely going to be thinking about that when they are up for the number 2 pick. So I think Lonzo fits that well, and he is the second best prospect in the draft this year, behind Markelle. I think Jason doesn't agree with that, but I think that Lonzo can be a great NBA player, and although he might have trouble fitting in with D'Angelo Russell at the point guard position, I still think he is the best pick for the Lakers at number 2.
Yeah, so when I was doing this, I went through the 3 guys that we're mainly focusing on, assuming Markelle goes 1, at Lonzo, De'Aaron Fox, and Josh Jackson. It right now seems like Lonzo and Josh Jackson are like 1A and 1B, and then De'Aaron Fox. Personally, I would go Lonzo with if he's there, I'm taking Lonzo. I think he's the best player in the draft. But rumors are swirling right now about all of his negative things from the workout. I think a lot of that's smoke screens. But then if he's gone or if they decide they don't want him, I would look at De'Aaron Fox before Josh Jackson because I think he fills the need of a guard but also plays defense like Josh Jackson, really combines those two nicely. But I think that the Lakers will go Josh Jackson. He canceled a workout with the Celtics to come have a second workout in LA. There's rumor that he got guaranteed by some team that he will get taken, and he has not worked out for any other team in the top 5. So I think that the Lakers will go Josh Jackson, despite how much I want Lonzo to go, because I've already bought a Laker Lonzo jersey. I really want Lonzo to come, but I don't think it's realistic. So I think Josh Jackson will be the pick at number 2. Zach, who do you got at 28?
At 28, I was deciding between Josh Hart or Jordan Bell. Obviously, Jordan Bell had a great NCAA tournament. He was a standout at the NBA draft combine. He's a little too old. He's 22 years old, but with his versatility and athleticism, especially in defensively, he's a rim protector, it could make him a good fit for the Lakers. Josh Hart, his offensive potential is limited, but he can knock down open shots, and he can guard both guard spots for the Lakers. And when I think of him, I think of Malcolm Brogdon, which will get a lot of comparisons too, but he'd be a good stabilizing presence on the Lakers.
For my number 28, I have 3 guys that I think the Lakers should be targeting. DJ Wilson, Tony Bradley, and Jordan Bell. I think they would all fit with the Lakers well, and they need another big guy to rotate with Mozgov, Randall, and Larry Nance, and Zubac. So I think with those 5 in the rotation, either one of DJ Wilson, Tony Bradley, or Jordan Bell, the Lakers would be looking at a solid core of young big men.
I just think you need a shooter, and it's really up to Magic, Pelinka, and Walton on what position they want, because there's somewhat of a need at every position but the 5. I think we're good with Zubac, Tarek Black, and Timothy Mozgov. So if you're going guards, forwards, some guys they've worked out that I like is like PJ Dozier, as you said, Josh Hart, Tyler Dorsey. Personally, if it was me drafting at 28, I go Lonzo at 2 and Bryce Alford at 28. You get a shooter, a teammate, and you put them together. The Lakers worked them out. I know they were high on Alford. So I think you look somewhere like that. They also worked out Nigel Williams-Goss. But if you want to go on the bigger side to help get a shooting 4, because Nance and Randall cannot shoot for their lives, somebody like Tyler Lydon, Yvonne Robb, Jordan Bell, both you mentioned, Kyle Kuzma, or Thomas Bryant, I like at the 4. So one more thing on the draft. If I'm Pelinka, I'm trying to see if I can unload maybe Tarek Black or someone that's not have a bad contract and try to get one more pick in the early second round. I think that if we can get maybe Bryce Alford later or some kind of, we see one more shooter at the guard spot, and I think that's something, because there's so many shooters late in this draft, if you can go in the 30s, mid-30s, I think that's a perfect play. So that's actually in one of my trades, but just draft-wise, I think you go 30 and get one of those guys I mentioned again.
I mean, you think Tarek Black or somebody like Corey Brewer, Nick Young would be worth it?
If you can get Corey Brewer to a team and if you get rid of his 2-year deal, you get Corey Brewer, and then you get some player back and the 35th pick, I would do that in a heartbeat. It doesn't even matter who. Like, just get somebody that's on a 1-year deal, somebody like Tyler Ennis that we got last year, like a cheap 1-year guy, and he can take up some minutes. But really, it's about developing young guys. So I love this draft class this year. It's deep and has a lot of good players that fit the Lakers' needs.
I mean, to me, I don't think a guy like Corey Brewer or Tarek Black is worth a second-round pick.
Okay, then you trade in the first. I mean, if you can get in the first round, I would do like the Blazers. What pick they have at 25?
No, I mean like for the other team. I mean, I wouldn't give up.
You wouldn't give up Tarek, really? I would.
I mean, they're kind of expensive.
To a team
Black and Brewer are both on 1-year deals.
I mean, like Brewer's a good guy to come off the bench for a team that's like on the cusp of the playoffs. Like the Nuggets could use Brewer, or like the Blazers, somebody that just needs because he's a good defensive guy. So just not like he's a star, but he's gonna come in, take up some minutes, and I think he'd be a good fit on like a playoff team, just similar to Nick Young for sure. And so I'm thinking, I don't know who's in the second round in what order, but if they can find somebody on the cusp of the playoffs or like a 7 or 8 seed, like the Bucks or the Wizards, I think he'd be a good fit there just for a second round pick and get the Lakers for some more youth.
All right, let's move into free agency now. Some free agents that make sense for the Lakers. Michael, who do you have?
Now, he's not a free agent this year, but next year, Paul George. There's been a lot of rumors about Paul George to LA, and I think, a star like Paul George would be really helpful for them. And so that's where they should look to in 2018.
All right, I went for a few this year. Like we've talked about in previous podcasts with some young rebuilding teams, such as the Lakers, some young free agents that kind of make sense for them. Dwayne Dedmon, Willie Reed, Jonathan Simmons, all young guys that can come in and keep improving their potential and be a good rotation piece for the Lakers. And another guy, Thabo Sefolosha, he plays some defense and can mentor a guy like Brandon Ingram and help him out on the defensive side.
So, first of all, they should not continue the streak of handing out terrible, long-term, expensive contracts like to Dang and to Mozgov. So that's first of all. But the first option for this offseason would be Gordon Hayward. Now, Gordon Hayward will probably go to the Celtics if he does not re-sign with Utah Jazz, but that's obviously the first option. Then I like Otto Porter a lot, which I think Washington will probably match any offer that gets put towards their way. But if you can get Otto Porter, that'd be great. Then if not that, you can look into like Shabazz Muhammad, Robert Covington, and Tony Snell, and possibly Reggie Bullock if the Pistons give up on him. That's who I got.
Yeah. For my free agents, like I said, same thing in the draft, you need guys that can shoot the ball. I think any position you want to look at. So guards and forwards, I've got Patty Mills and Michael Carter-Williams would be great fits at the 1 if they decide to go Josh Jackson. I like guys like Michael Beasley, Joe Ingles, or Ersan Ilyasova. And then for the big spot, anybody like Patrick Patterson, Jonas Jerebko, or Willie Reed. Really, we just need guys that can space out the floor and hit open shots because Randall and Nance are working on it, but we need someone right now because Lonzo, especially if we get Lonzo and D'Lo, they're going to be throwing some nice passes right there that shooters need to shoot the ball.
And right now, with their current roster, I don't think Paul George would leave for the Lakers right now. I think they need to improve their team and maybe possibly get another star to convince Paul George to go. And obviously, that's their number one. That's like their plan A is to get Paul George.
Yeah, I think Paul George will definitely be watching the Lakers this season, see how they play together, see if Lonzo, who we think will be drafted there, will be able to become a star, and see if Paul George wants to develop with those guys. But let's move into some trade rumors for the Los Angeles Lakers. Zach, what is your proposed trade for them?
So I got a 3-team trade here. It's between the Orlando Magic, the Lakers, and the Kings. So the Magic would get Timofey Mozgov, the 10th pick, and the 28th pick. So they would take on Mozgov's bad contract for another lottery pick. Then the Lakers would get Vucevic and the 5th pick. So they would unload 2 huge contracts, which you'll see later, by giving up Mozgov and Dang, and they'd only move up 3 spots in the draft. And then the Kings would get the 2nd pick, Dang, and Julius Randle. So they get the 2nd pick in the draft, they move up 3 spots, and they get a young power forward who will can go along with Willie Cauley-Stein.
All right, my trades, I went the same direction. I didn't put them together, but I have trades for Mozgov and Luol Deng. The only trade I really saw online that is viable, I know Dylan and Mike, you guys might not like this as Pacer fans, but I saw Mozgov and pick 28 for Monte Ellis. I mean, if I'm the Lakers, I'd do it. We used to be out of his contract. I don't care who we get back. I'll take some European prospect for Mozgov's contract. So I was happy with that. But if you want to unload Mozgov, if you want to keep him, get rid of Deng, which I think is more viable because he's actually valuable to teams. I think there's 3 trades I saw. Danny Green, Dwayne Dedman, and Kyle Anderson, if they all get re-signed, for Luol Deng, pick 28, and our next year second rounder from Denver. DJ Augustine. Augustine, there we go. CJ Watson and Damjan Rudez for Luol Deng in our first round pick this year. Or to the Trailblazers for Nikola Pekovic, Tyus Jones for Luol Deng, Corey Brewer, and pick 28. So really, any of those 4, I don't care who we get back. They all don't have too bad of contracts. We need to make a deal to get Mozgov or Deng off of our books and free up some space for Paul George next year.
I think one thing that you talked about with the Mozgov trade, I want to go back to that for a second. I think it's actually not too bad for the Pacers if Paul George is gone.
Next year?
If Paul George is going to resign, then he's not going to want Mozgov on the roster. That's $16 million in cap space that is basically useless. But Monte Ellis is definitely someone the Pacers want to get rid of. And if Paul George does not want to re-sign, then
so next year you're thinking?
I'd like another first-round pick. I mean,
if
it happens like that, if Paul George does,
I mean,
wants to
you
get
wouldn't
traded,
know
or
because this is like pick 28 this year, so you have to know in a week of because like the draft's a week from today. So
I mean, if they do a different trade for Paul George, if it comes up,
yeah. So you think the Pacers should be looking to shop Paul George?
No, I mean it just depends if he wants to resign. If he wants to resign,
that's the thing. It's the same with Kevin Durant, same thing with Blake and Chris this year. Like every team, you got to decide are they going to come back or not. And if I'm the Pacers, like I know this isn't the Pacers one, but I would try to get rid of him because if he goes to Cleveland, he might stay in Cleveland. If he goes I mean, it's really hard to decide because I don't think Paul George is staying. You're not going to be able to be a contender in a year unless you get LeBron. And so, yeah, Michael?
I think you always got to assume the worst. You always got to assume that he's going to leave, and so you have the value of him right now. So might as well try to get something for him instead of getting nothing for him when he signs with a different team.
I mean, if the Lakers offered the Pacers a trade, they're stupid in my opinion. But if I'm the Pacers, I'm taking that very quickly because if he's gonna go there either way, at least get Clarkson or Randall or Russell or whoever back. I hope the Lakers do, but yeah, Zach.
Yeah, well, right now, I don't think the Pacers are going to get equal value for Paul George, obviously, because I think everyone assumes that he's going to leave a free agency, and especially when he didn't make the All-NBA team, he's not going to get that huge contract. I think he's good as gone, honestly, either to the Cavs or to the Lakers.
I agree.
All right, I had a couple trades to, I think, Deng or Mozgov and 28 for literally nothing back. If the Lakers can trade away that 28.
I think Deng's got value. Mozgov has no value. Take whoever you can. But I think Deng's got value for like a playoff team. I've heard that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers, I think, got to get rid of him
a
little bit, though, because Deng, Mozgov, and Clarkson combined are owed $50 million in 2019 and 2020.
Clarkson's a good deal. It's like a 4-year, $50 million deal. That's a great deal for a young 23-year-old.
I like Clarkson.
I have no issue with that. I just need to get rid of one of them. And I think Deng's going to be someone people want. I have no issue keeping Mozgov. I think if we have to keep him, we can. I wouldn't cut him. I'd keep him. He's going to put up 10, 15 minutes a game, give us 5 and 5, and get out. Like, obviously, the contract sucks, but I wouldn't trade him for nothing almost. I don't know. I'd get rid of Deng because I think he's got value on playoff teams.
And I had another one, too. Depending on how much the Lakers like Lonzo, 2 for 5 and 10 for the Kings. If the Kings would like to do that and the Lakers don't like Lonzo, I would definitely take that 5 and 10.
I would do that, too.
I don't think they will. I think they'd be fine, but I don't think they will because they've only worked out one guy that would be there. They've only worked out Dennis Smith Jr. And so when I saw that work out, it was like last week, I was like, oh, crap, we're going to trade it. But then at 10, who are you going to take? Because you haven't worked out Harry Giles. You haven't worked out Zach Collins. Like, you haven't worked out these guys, and they're not going to take guys that they've never seen play before, like, in their own gym. So whether I don't know. I don't think it makes sense for either team, though, because the Kings need 2, 3, 4 pieces. The Lakers only need 1 or 2. And so for either team, it's like, why would the Lakers get 2 picks and then they need 1 more player? Or why would the Kings get rid of a pick and they need more players? So, I mean, I still think it's a possibility. Would I do it? No, but I think it's a definite possibility. I've heard it a lot this week that it's possible, especially on draft night. I would not be surprised to see that number 2 pick get traded on draft night.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It doesn't make sense for either team. But if the Lakers don't like Lonzo, 5 and 10 would definitely be a better value.
Yeah.
But let's move into headlines for next season. Michael, what is your headline for the Los Angeles Lakers?
My headline is loading up some magic. Obviously loading because D'Angelo Russell and magic because Magic Johnson. But, it's going to take some time, but I think, slow and steady wins the race and keep rebuilding to hopefully get a NBA championship sometime.
My headline is Lakers use their magic to land George and return to Showtime. So obviously the first their plan A is to land Paul George. Everyone knows he'll probably go there, so they gotta use their magic to land him, and then their ultimate goal is to return to championships and to greatness. And obviously it'll take some time. They got some good young players, but they just gotta keep on trusting the process.
That's my headline. You said it. Trust the process. I know it's pretty basic and it's a Sixers thing, but I just feel like it is what you've got to do. I'm not going to lie, as a Laker fan, the number one thing I'm worried about is we're going to make some trade for Paul George, get rid of Russell and Ingram, and then when Paul George can't carry a team to the finals, because that's not realistic, then you're all screwed. Then you're screwed as the Lakers franchise. So I'm saying you keep your young guys, get Lonzo at 2, give them all their minutes, and just develop, and trust the process.
All right, mine is going to be, dang, we need to trade him. The Lakers have got to get rid of Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov because in 2019 and 20, they're going to possibly have Paul George on the books. They're going to have to re-sign some of their young guys when their rookie deals expire. And that $50 million combined for Deng, Mozgov, and Clarkson is not looking too pretty for 2019 and 2020 right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about Clarkson. He's getting paid less than $20 million a year. He's a solid 6. He'll contend for 6 Man of the Year this year. He's 25. I don't really see an issue with that one, but I agree one of them needs to go for sure.
All right, so the Lakers have been building through the draft a lot lately, so that got us thinking about the draft for our top 5. So we're going to do the top 5 draft steals in NBA history. Jason, who is your number 5?
I kept the Lakers, and I went number 5, Kobe Bryant at pick 13. He's a top 10 greatest player ever to play, and so I went Kobe at number 5 because they got him at the 13th pick. Too bad the Hornets traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's my number 5.
At number 5, I got Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas. He was the second pick in the second round of the 2001 NBA draft. Obviously, he was a great player. He was a starter and averaged double figures in scoring his rookie season. He averaged 29.3 points per game in the 2005-2006 season for Washington and averaged more than 20 per game for his career. He was a 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA selection, and was the 2002-2003 Most Improved Player.
For my number 5, I'm going to go with Dennis Rodman. A great player, led the league in rebounding for a few years in the 90s, and a great steal for the Pistons and the Bulls.
My number 5 was Steve Nash. He was the 15th pick in the draft and, 2-time MVP and Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's actually my number 4. I went Steve Nash, just like you said. 15th pick. What a steal for the Suns. And got one of the greatest point guards ever to play at and he comes in at my number 4.
My number 4 is Dennis Rodman, who was number 27 overall. Obviously, he's known for his rebounding, and he won multiple championships with the Chicago Bulls. He was named Defensive Player of the Year in 1990, 1991. Won 2 championships with the Pistons and 3 with the Bulls.
My number 4 is going to be Kobe Bryant. Although I hate him, the 13th pick for the Lakers, obviously not the Lakers drafted him, but they traded for him at the number 13 pick. And MVP, champion, 5-time champion for the Lakers, and great player, one of the best of all time.
My number 4 was Draymond Green. He was the 35th pick in the draft, and just part of this amazing Warriors team that just won the championship, and he's really a great player.
I have a question for that.
Yeah.
I feel like for the top draft steals of all time, you don't really know how his career has played out so far. He's only played a few seasons.
He's
So.
already a 2-time champion.
Yeah,
and he's going to be
he's already
Defensive
a
Player of the
two-time
Year. He should
But
be.
you think that's due to having 3 other this year 3 other All-Stars on his team?
I mean,
He's still a
he's
great
a Hall of
player.
Famer,
It
I
doesn't
think.
change the fact that he's a great player.
Yeah, and he'll be a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
In
I
the
like
second
it.
round. In the second
Yeah,
round.
second rounder, exactly.
Okay,
I like it.
I
I
think
like
it's way better. Okay.
My number 3, I went Alex English. He went at the 23rd pick, Hall of Famer for the Nuggets, and was really a star of the 90s Nuggets. Zach.
At number 3, I got Steve Nash. He was, back-to-back MVPs, 8 All-Star appearances, and he one of the great point guards the league has ever seen.
For my number 3, I also have Alex English, like Jason, one of the most underrated players in NBA history, and a great pick for the Nuggets, great value at 23.
My number 3 was also Alex English, what Gandhi said.
Yeah. All right, and my number 2, I had Dennis Rodman. He went at pick 27 and was one of those dominant big men in the 90s, played phenomenal for the Bulls and the Pistons and the Mavericks and just some other teams. So, yeah, Rodman comes in at number 2.
At number 2, I got a pair of Stockton and Malone. Obviously, everyone knows about that Stockton-Malone duo. Stockton was the 16th pick in the 1984 draft, and Karl Malone was taken. He was taken at
15, I believe.
15. All right, yeah, they're just one of the most dominant duo the league has ever seen.
Yeah, I also have the pair of Stockton and Malone at 2. Like Zach said, one of the most dominant duos, and although they never won a championship, they did contend against Jordan's Bulls quite a few times.
At number 2, I had Kobe Bryant, 13th pick, and obviously one of the best players of all time. So that's a steal at number 13.
Yeah, my number 1 pick, I didn't go the pair route. I went individuals. So I went with Manu Ginobili, Hall of Famer, 3-time champion, and a 2-time All-Star, if I remember correctly. He won 6 Man of the Year. Really, just one of the best players ever to come from an international draft. And so I went Manu Ginobili with the 57th pick. But one guy that's like my honorable mention would be Isaiah Thomas, playing right now, and he's the last pick in the draft. Zach?
My number one was also the pair of Ginobili and Tony Parker. Ginobili was taken 57th in the draft. He averaged 14.9 points a game, 4 assists, almost 4 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game. The 3 previous 57th picks before that were Torrey Braggs, Roberto Duenas, and Drew Barry. So, they got pretty lucky with Ginobili. And obviously the Spurs have been known for their great drafting. And then Tony Parker was taken 28th and averaged 17 a game, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 5-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champion. I mean, that was a great duo.
I also have Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker at my number one. The duo of the 2001 NBA draft and 2 huge parts of the Spurs dynasty throughout the 2000s.
My number one was the Mr. Irrelevant of the 2011 draft, Isaiah Thomas. 5'9", but this kid can play. He was the last pick in the draft, and I think, having an all-star like Isaiah Thomas as your last pick in the draft, that is a steal.
You think he's number one with subpar defense?
Subpar defense. I mean, you don't know how his career's going to end, though.
Exactly.
He could
That's
turn
why
that
he should
around.
be
He
number
could turn
one.
that around. He could turn that around. You never know.
That's why he should be number one.
But he's the last pick in the draft. The last pick.
I understand that.
The last pick.
I understand that.
So you're saying guys that were like the 27th pick and the 13th pick, but this kid is in the last pick of the draft.
He's about to be moved off
And-
for Markelle Fultz, who's about to take his spot, possibly.
Oh.
Markelle Fultz
Oh.
did not take his
Oh.
spot. No, he won't. Isaiah Thomas
No, he
is
won't.
a
The
superstar.
number one draft steal of all time.
Is a superstar. That was the last pick in the draft. There was 59 other people before
Hold this
him,
L, Michael.
and he was probably one of the best people in that draft class.
I mean,
He's the
we'll
last
see.
pick.
We'll see. He still has plenty of his career to play out, and we'll see what happens with the Celtics in the future. They could be back into the NBA Finals in a couple years, depending on how fast LeBron deteriorates.
Let's get this Celtics talk out of here. It's a Lakers podcast. Let's not talk about the Boston Celtics. Worst franchise ever. I hate them. So
Oh, yeah.
Let's go into what's coming up. So yesterday we posted the Browns. Make sure you check that out. And then tomorrow, the Phoenix Suns. We're going to get into who should they take at number 4. Do they want Josh Jackson? Do they want De'Aaron Fox? We'll see. And then Monday we get back into it in the NFL as the Indianapolis Colts are going to get their what's next. And then Tuesday we'll be putting out our mock drafts. Michael's will be going out Friday online on the articles. So make sure you look at that. But we will have a podcast with all of our mock drafts Tuesday. So you don't want to miss that. That's coming up on the Sports Circle.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. And if you want to see the rest of our NBA What's Next series, make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. In the description, there's a link to our Twitter account. And we will post on there every time we post a new video or an article on our website. So check that out, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for listening.